The Evenlode Catchment Partnership is an organisation hosted by myself on behalf of Wild Oxfordshire and the Environment Agency. We're an organisation that brings together lots of people who live and work in the area of the Evenlode. The Evenlode is situated in the northwesterly part of the Thames River Basin. The short video that you're about to see is a demonstration of work we completed in 2015. The work was undertaken to restore a stretch of the River Glyme south of Stratford Bridge. It was done in partnership with local landowners. And now over to Vaughan Lewis of Windrush AEC to explain some of the more technical aspects of the project as it takes place on the river.
River Glyme was very badly dredged in the past, damaged quite significantly, leaving it over wide, over deep, very reedy, a lot of sediment. The crux of this project is to rebuild what you see in front of you here, shallow, gravel-dominated spawning areas for trout, invertebrates, speed up the flow, bring the bed up, make the river work more in keeping with the flow that we've got, and to provide very valuable habitat, which at the moment is missing.
We do lots of this type of river restoration work up and down the country, and whichever site we work on, we always try and source the materials locally. The stone that's actually gone into the river behind me was sourced literally 200 yards away. That in effect has two main benefits. One, it keeps the cost down, and the other one is it's much better for the environment.
To create the meanders, we built up faggot bundles on the inside of the bend, supported with wooden stakes. Slightly excavated the outside of the bend here with a nice little batter on it, and using the woody debris, forced the water down the outside to try and create some flow down here. And over time this will erode the bank. The inside of the bend will accumulate silt, and the flow will push this way, accentuating the meander. And in that way we build in a little bit of feature to the river, which was previously very straight. The River Glyme is very over wide, very over deep, a result of dredging in the past. Also a lot of sediment in the bottom and very little gravel. It's all been dredged out and put on the banks as part of past land drainage operations. And as a consequence, the flow rate is very slow. Get a lot of emergent vegetation. This section has just been cleaned out, ready for part of enhancement, but you can see here lots of emergent vegetation still remaining. Quite unattractive to most species, and particularly unattractive to trout and any of the fish species that live on gravel and stone. Okay, so the bed of the river was originally clay, but we've introduced a lot of this very large stone, something much bigger. That filled the void space up and lifted the bed. Ideal habitat for a range of invertebrates again, particularly the crawling nymphs, cased caddis, they all get tucked in under that. and also a good holdfast area for water crowfoot ranunculus. And then we overtop the whole lot with a shingle. This is 10 to 40 mil mixed shingle. You've got the 10 mil shingle here, river gravel, ideal for spawning trout, for some of the smaller invertebrates. And then the coarser material here, this is the 40 mil. Gives it stability, locks together, and when you've got a pile of that all in place, you've got a nice diverse bed which is very stable, not going to be moved much by most of the flows you'll get on typical Cotswold rivers, but just moves around enough to give the throughput of water that you need for trout eggs, bullhead eggs, and some of the other species that live in that gravel zone. We're standing by a scrape which we created as part of the project. Reason for excavating this scrape were twofold. Firstly, to excavate some material from the floodplain and to give a degree of flood compensation in return for the material we brought in. And secondly, and more obviously, to create some habitat for a range of species. Birds, invertebrates that don't live in the river, and possibly even otters and fish if we get colonised with fish from floods. Interestingly, immediately after we dug the pond or the scrape and before it was filled up, we had a kingfisher and a heron, two of the most optimistic birds I've ever seen, visiting our empty scrape, but showing how these birds hunt for new habitat. As time goes on, vegetation will develop around it, the slightly barren look will soften, and we will start to see species colonise it. Different species, different seasons, excellent adjunct to what we've done in the river.
I know the site behind me looks a bit raw at the moment, but that's just really due to the fact of the heavy machinery involved. When we come back in 6 months' time, the vegetation will have grown back up and it will look really fantastic.
We'll be carrying out further restoration projects in 2016, as well as holding events around citizen science and education in the catchment. If you want further details, just contact us through the website. Thank you.